Who is Ntsiki? Ntsiki according to Ntsiki.
I don't think anybody knows who they are. I always hate that question because I'm so many different things at different times. But I suppose what comes to the forefront, I've got a lot of energy. I'm very vocal. I'm very honest. And
To a fault.
to a fault.
Yep.
To a fault. And I'm also very, I feel a lot. I feel deeply. I feel for others. I think I'm learning that I'm idealistic. And the purpose of being on this planet is to make mistakes and whatever. So I'm sitting there like really shocked at how badly everybody's behaving.
Okay.
You know? So I think that's what I'm dealing with, being with that personality that's like, no, but that's not what God said. God said we must be like this, you know, and then everybody's like, ugh. So I think, and then perhaps because it's not happening in a Christian way, that's where the clash is happening for me and my society. Because I think that if I was highly Christian and always backed my messaging up with
Scripture.
the word of Jesus, exactly, I would be a lot further, right?
I get you.
So I'm just a very deeply spiritual spirit that's trying to fix, and I think that's what the conflict is.
Who is God to you?
I've been thinking about that. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know, but I know that there's a creator. When I look at the trees and the mountains and the rivers and other human beings, I'm like, wow, there's somebody or there's something that created all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the person, that's the force that I bow down to, the one that is of nature.
So it was.
So, whatever natural thing for
Source.
me, yeah, it's something I bow down to. Even like something, a spider or an ant. I'm just like, I know that there's a greater force, and I know that I'm a vehicle for that greater force, and to bring in messages. I know that my gift of writing and being an orator is in line with word. When they say in the beginning there was the word. So I understand that my gift is of a high spiritual vibration. It's also very polluted on this planet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And also the religion and whatever. And my family background is religious. So I'm looking like this crazy psycho mad woman who they don't know how they gave birth to this thing. You know? So it's difficult. It's a difficult journey because I want to be this good, sophisticated Mazwai. And then I'm just like, but my reality is that I'm not relating to this Christian journey. And actually, I've got dreams, and actually, I say things and they shake up the country and they shake you guys up. So, and it's not happening to anybody else. Everybody else can use their social media and just speak whatever they like, you know? And people will say the foulest things and
get away with it.
Yeah, and get away with it. Then I'm like, then how come my one is like a compulsory subject in South Africa? So I'm struggling with that and understanding why was that, you know? And so I've never had like an elder come to me and be like, oh, you've got the gift and this is how we do. It only actually happened with one of my uncles after I lost my grandmother in June. An uncle I haven't spoken to in in decades. And he was just like, dude, chill. I can see you. You've got the gift. Just relax. I know. So for me, I even cried that day because I was like, it was the first time where I was like, okay, like Because if you don't have family backing for your spiritual journey, it's so much more harder.
Especially because with the spiritual journey, like you say, it's a journey. It's a constant discovery. It's a constant finding of yourself, and the journey is very much lined with who you're actually coming from. So it's really important to actually have family backing, because you don't come from yourself, you know, and your family is one basis to actually help you understand yourself better. So if you actually do not have that, it makes the disconnect so much more visible
and painful.
Yeah, but pain is a growth factor. I know a lot of people like to say, why does it have to be painful? Why does it? But that is what gets us out of the comfort zone, of our comfort zones. If we stay and remain in our comfort zones, we're not going to grow. So getting out of the comfort zone speaks to pain. It needs to be painful for us to actually grow. Otherwise, we stay put. Even the comfort zones that are not comfort zones, we're not even comfortable in the comfort zone, but it's our comfort zone. This is what we know, you know, and we prefer to just sit in that and stay in that and be stagnant and not grow, you know. But pain grows us. It's a very good platform for growth. A lot of our purpose is found in our names. That is why I'm asking who Ntsiki is. I want to know what your name means to you. If there's anybody in the family that you were named after, and if you resonate with your name. I also would like to know what you would call yourself if you had to give yourself a name.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's start with my name.
Yeah.
Nontsikelelo. Mahlogonolo.
Blessings, right?
Sibusiso, blessings. The mother of blessings, she who brings blessings.
So what?
I completely resonate with that and have always lived in it and have always seen that I've got a glow and a radiance that when it comes into the space, and there's a vibe to it, you know? So I do know that about myself, and it's something that I enjoy. And when I get into human spaces, I step into my name, and I want everybody to be happy, and I want everybody to feel blessed by me being there. I was named after my great-grandmother, who apparently was an astute businesswoman. Gosh, I haven't connected that much with her, but her daughter, my grandmother, the one who just passed, I was very close to. And as she was getting older and getting closer to transcending, the name, my name, helped her with her transition. Because I was Nontsikelelo, her mother, and she was going back home. So spiritually, there was something that happened. I keep mentioning my grandmother also because, like I say, I have never had somebody in my family to break down what's happening. But after my grandmother died, there's a spiritual awakening that occurred, that is occurring, that I can't explain. Like the day that we buried her, I started glowing. And I've just had this glow since. And I'm trying to now unpack what does that mean, and what is the spirit thing that happened. And even my dreams came much closer. Like I was like, oh my word. You know when your life just flips and you're just like, whoa. Okay guys, just a second, I'm coming just now. I'm going to take a quick nap now. I will be back with the answer just now, you know. So there was a whole thing that happened. So yeah, and it's weird, that same grandmother, when I was young, she once walked into my room when I was praying, and then she accused me of witchcraft. Exactly. So
who were you praying to?
But I was just praying. I don't know what it is about that moment,
that made her think witchcraft.
Yeah, but it also must speak to that spiritual gift. Because I was like, are you crazy? And then we had a war about that because I was like, I need you think I'm a Satanist.
And also it speaks to what she saw when she walked into the room, or what she felt when she walked into the room. And because people are so uncomfortable in the presence of spirit, if they do not know spirit, that they will give it any kind of... Because a lot of people don't know spirit. When we're confronted with spirit, it's an out of worldly experience that people are comfortable with the Holy Spirit, I guess, because it is so, a lot of the time it's very fictional. So so people resonate with, it's a comfortable lie. People resonate with that. So when now we're confronted with spirit, when there's a presence and there's a whole shaking that happens.
Because I've been trying to connect it. I was like,
she saw something when she felt something when she walked in.
I've never thought of it like that. It's only now that she's transcended. I'm like, excuse me, you told me I'm a Satanist, and now look at you, you're always in my dreams. Alright? I'm like, you're the first one to know how to communicate to me at the moment, but you accused me of Satanism when I was 15 years old on the 27th of June, 19.
You actually remember. And it's like, without invitation, I have not invited you into my dream space, and here you are. Yeah.
That's what I was like, hypocrite, hello.
There we go.
It was very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So the journey's been...
Is it new though, this journey for you?
I've always been different. Because now I've just turned 40 and I'm now reflecting on my life and my youth. And I'm like, okay, actually, Ntsiki, you've always been the odd one out. People have always kind of ganged up on you all your life. You know this thing. Like even in primary school, how I got into poetry is that everybody's mean to me. So then I ended up in the library during break times reading poetry because I was like, okay, well, nobody wants to be my friend.
So you see, if it had been easy, you would not have discovered your gift.
Yeah. But it's very interesting though, because then there's the people who are and then who can see all of this and they're just like, whoa, what a movie. Who are in my immediate...
Yeah.
And they're like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. I'm still looking for this thing that they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about, friend. Let's go. So it's very fascinating too. And also myself, I know myself. I've got a very warm, gumnandi, so it's so weird to create so much chaos and storms and whirlwinds all around you, and you're just like, whoa, it's so deep. Okay.
It's, when we speak of the anointing, we speak of being chosen to fulfill a particular purpose. I think that is actually what it is, because it's not like you invite it or all you do is just speak your mind and everybody goes crazy. But also everybody wants to listen, even whether they agree or they do not agree, but they still want to listen and they still want to have an opinion about your opinion, which is weird and people don't understand that. But you're also sharing your opinion. All I did was share mine. So why is it so difficult for you to take mine when you want me to take yours?
Yeah.
And that's all you're doing. It's just sharing your opinion, is sharing what you think, and everybody's entitled to that. But the way that you think is also very interesting, I must say. Because it's you refuse, in my opinion, you refuse to be influenced. And people love being influenced. They actually don't even see that they're influenced by whatever. So when somebody comes up that is different, it's so much easier to attack and to just attack them and...
Can't you see we're sheep? We're all sheep here.
Yeah.
We're all going this way, Ntsiki.
Exactly. Why are you going off on a tangent?
Yeah.
So that is what you are embodying to society, I think. But I think your voice is very, very important, because you don't just... It's not light matters that you actually talk about. And it's always matters that need to be addressed. So if you were not there to actually address them, then who actually would, you know. So that is a gift, being able to having a powerful voice and having such powerful opinions and views. Yes, you make people talk. You make people open up. You make people angry. You make people
express.
Yeah. Togoza. But yes, gungahlali, you know, and you also make them think. Make them. You're very. I'm not going to say you're very confrontational, but
provocative.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
But how do you handle it? How do you then deal with all the
backlash?
Yeah.
I was having this conversation actually about 2 days ago. I feel that my calling to heal is bigger than my calling for my ego.
Always.
So it's much more important to just shut off the feeling thing, because so many more people are healing through that tweet.
Togoza.
Yeah.
Togoza.
Yeah.
So you just sit back and
I just switch it off, and people, I'm slowly training them to be like, guys, you don't have to swear at me. Like, we can speak openly, you know. We have conversations where it's just like about approach. Let's be mature about this. Yes, I'm provocative. Yes, you know, even on my Twitter account, I say this account it will piss you off, but respect me still. So I'm trying to teach the people that that's the role I play in society. I'm a poet. So a poet speaks and sees and speaks. And that way society is mirrored back to themselves. So how you guys react, whatever, that's your business, because that's your healing process. But I can't own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, actually, because that actually counts for all sorts, for every kind of art, for every art form.
Yeah.
You know, a painting will say different to me than it will to you, depending on where I am at that time. The same painting, if I view it a year later or 3 months later, will have a different message for me, or I will see it differently based on where I've moved to now, whatever space that I am in. I think it's powerful also because you are not scared to confront the big people who everybody else would be scared to actually even. You will tag. You will actually tag a person, and you will say the name. The being able to own yourself, to own what you say, to say it with your chest.
Well, then the interaction has to be honest. We didn't come here. I don't know why people suck up so much. I'm like, let's just be honest with each other, you know, and just keep it pure and whatever. Because there's something weird about dishonesty and thinking something else about somebody and then engaging with them differently when you see them. You know, we're all guilty of that thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to just like keep the relationship clean.
I like how you say we're all guilty of it. I hate it with a passion, actually. But it gets me into trouble as well, because I want to talk about things. I want to actually, let's talk about it. Let's confront it and get over it.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people have secrets, man. People have so much to hide, and it makes for a difficult life. I think for me that's the most. For me, that's what I do not want for myself. A secret is too heavy. If I don't want to lug around things with me. Let's get it out of the way. If I was wrong, I was wrong, and let's talk about it, and let me take the punishment for it, and so we can move on. Yes, so we can move on. The secrets are bad. Secrets are poison. That is a killer. It does not only kill the person that's keeping the secret, it doesn't know good for the people that you're hiding the things from, because at some point it's going to come out. And then it's going to hurt even worse.
Oh, and it's got an ugly way of coming out. The truth. It's better to just put it out there, own it. Yeah. And you know,
ugly way of coming
because
out.
When it says, okay, it's my turn. Wow.
Shit hits the fan.
And when it could have been, it's my turn to come out.
And it could have been so much easier
if you just owned it.
Are you completely Xhosa? Are you just
I'm Xhosa.
through and through from what you know? Because you only know from like 4 generations back, maybe. So that's what you actually know, but you don't know what else is in there. It's actually amazing how. Yeah, because we've lost, because our history is
Distorted, disjuncted, lied.
So you just identify as a Xhosa girl.
It's because I grew up in Soweto also.
Okay.
So my traditional roots, like I was explaining to you, are really, I'm trying to find what my things are supposed to be like. Like I'm finding out via my journey. I did my master's in 2017 and I got a scholarship in Grahamstown. When I get to Grahamstown, I find out it's my ancestry. That's where they're from. Then I was like, oh, no wonder. Because it was just such a random place where I was in Joburg one day, then it was like, come, we need to do your master's degree. And then it works out at Rhodes University. And then I'm sorted out there. Then I was like, what's this so weird? Then I find out, no, my people are actually from here. So I'm finding out as I go along, as my point is, when I just listen to them.
Okay.
And then when I'm on my journeys, I'm like, why am I here? I just ask myself questions, and then it comes together in my history when I'm like, okay, this, you know?
And that is actually how it actually happens, hey? It's a living it. You live it and it comes out piece by piece.
Yeah.
And then you're able to connect the dots. What did you do your master's in?
Writing.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us a book at some point?
My memoir is there. It's still in my laptop. You know, it's writing your childhood stories opens up cans of worms.
Girl, I know this.
Yeah. I'm sitting there with it going, what do I do? Do I wait for people to die first? What's the solution? So it's there. The book is there. It just hasn't been published, but it's there.
Yeah, eh?
Deep.
It is.
Yep.
You have to find ways to tell the story without frustrating anybody and hurting anybody.
But the truth is the truth.
Story.
Exactly.
Yes, that is your story. I'm actually I'm at the same place. Yours is finished. Mine is the cans of worms. Also, is not just about the people that are part of my story. It's also about me dealing with, because growing up, you shelve so many things.
Yeah.
You shelve things so that you can move on. Life can.
Yep.
You don't have a choice.
Yep.
In any case, because life needs to be lived.
Yeah.
So I found
and you're young and you don't have any power.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I found when I started writing, each time I go into it, then I get to a point where it just breaks me.
Yep.
And I have to stop.
Yep.
And I have to deal.
Yep.
It's like opening a whole can of worms, things that I left and.
Writing is for the brave, eh?
It is painful, painful, because it takes me back to that.
Yep.
And I have to stop, deal, cry, and then there's the element that you're actually bringing in of the people that are part of the story.
Yep. Your antagonists, who are family.
And a lot of the time, they actually don't even see themselves as antagonists.
Exactly.
It's like you're the troublesome person, or telling your story now becomes about you attacking people, but it's just you telling your story the best way you know how, because that is actually your story to tell. Oh God. So it's there.
It's there. Interesting time.
But Gogo, you need to give us the story. You need to do also yourself
Yeah, the justice.
The justice to
and the peace.
Yeah, because if you've actually written it, you need to.
Yeah.
It can't just be for your laptop. And then what happens to it?
No, I'm going to. Plus, now it's come to its own closure with my granny dying and just turning 40. So I think there's a last chapter I need to write that brings everything together. Because there was a little element missing in the end of, okay, ipelap, like what's the... So I think that my grandmother's death and where I am now has put a closure into my childhood. Okay. And like, where I'm just like, okay, well, shit happened.
It's a story about your childhood. It's not the end of the story. You're going to start a new life now, which is, I think, is just the most beautiful gift that your people have given to you at this point. Leaving the city and going to start anew. I see a whole new chapter. I see a whole new growth for you. I see it as a rite of passage. Yeah. I see it as a kind of initiation that you're actually going to be going through. It's not just you coming, just leaving the city and going to live elsewhere. There's a whole purpose behind that. Especially at this point of your life. Why is it coming now? Also after your granny's passing, also taking you away from the noise. There's so much more that you actually still need to discover about Ntsiki. And you think, I know Ntsiki, and you think, okay, this is maybe the end of the story. It's a whole new story that is actually going to come out of this, and it's going to be beautiful because you're actually a beautiful person. the things that your concerns. Listen, I follow you on Twitter. You talk about. You do a lot of work, of charity work. It's called Ubuntu Twitter that you do. Twitter Ubuntu. That has been about helping people, making sure people even get basics like electricity. You know, that is like a basic. We like to think otherwise, but that is actually a basic. You do things like that. You do for other people. So you're not just healing via your word, but because you have such a powerful voice. So it's not just words. Voice is a conduit of the word. So you give such a powerful voice, you're using it in the correct way as well to benefit others, to benefit the less fortunate. That is you also healing. And also giving the people the opportunity to give. Because a lot of people, a lot of the time, need to be told to give. They need to be directed to actually use their resources to assist others. And that is what you're actually providing on that platform on Twitter Ubuntu. Yeah, that's Twitter Ubuntu, yeah? That's what you're providing. So it's a whole new space that you're actually walking into. And the rite of passage, I want to go back to that. I want to know that as a Xhosa family, growing up, did you practice Xhosa tradition?
You know, we have amasiko nemisebenzi, but we haven't had like rites of passage. Like I know for a woman it would be intonjana. Okay. So I didn't necessarily have that.
What is intonjana?
It's the one where they take the young girls when you turn, like when you've hit puberty and you're becoming a woman. It's like ugoluga. When boys go to the mountains, it's the girl version of it. Then they put the girls in a hut with other mothers and their grannies, and they've got beadwork in there, and then they're singing and they're telling them stories and they're telling them what it means to be a woman. So we have that rite of passage, quite closer. But no, I didn't go through it because I'm a Lokshan Township girl. Yeah, but I wish that in my future journey, that's what I'm going to bring back.
Nthokoze.
Yeah.
Nthokoze. Yeah. Actually, have you considered spending time kwaXhosa?
I'd love to. I've been dying to go to the Transkei, but this lockdown kind of threw off a lot of... I'm going to Transkei.
Just a few weeks there where you're actually doing the rural life, where you're actually living indigenously with the indigenous people. It becomes a rite of passage in itself, especially if you've missed a whole lot of that part of your life. Then that is actually becomes it for you, and it informs, it fills. But you do feel a void. Do you feel that there's something missing from not having gone through that?
I feel like because I went with my brother. When the boys go to the mountains, the sisters can go with them to cook for them. It's a very beautiful thing, actually. Really, like, I was even in the hut. Obviously, there's some conversations when they go off and they cut off things that I don't need to be there for that. Yeah. But in the hut, the sisters are allowed in there, and it's a sacred, it's an out-of-body experience. Like, I wish that the black child can go back to themselves so that they can discover we live in a Harry Potter existence as black people, and gumnandi, and it's supernatural, and just come. It's one of those who's like, just come, guys. I can't explain it to you. Just come. Go back to your ways. You'll find it, you know?
It is beautiful.
It's really like, me and my brother will never, there's nothing that can ever come between us because of.
You went through that together.
It's really beautiful.
You're sitting around a fire with no electricity, with natural lighting.
Yep.
Sitting on the floor.
Yep.
Feeling very much in touch with yourself and your people.
Yep.
Walking away with knowing that you've learnt a part of you that you didn't have before you went to that experience.
When you need to pee, you just walk around the house, go squat, come back, you know, it's just like...
It's the life, eh?
Oh, just so...
You're getting your water from whatever has been brought to the space where you actually are, water that's been gotten from the river. It is beautiful. It's a grounding that you cannot buy.
Yeah.
And what we do is we cheat our children of so much because we want to give them all these things.
Yeah, but we're robbing them.
Yes, it's like, oh my God.
Our thing is much bigger. As someone who went to school Nabelung, now coming back to Isintu, I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't even Isintu is so much bigger, has so much more wealth and depth. The reason that there's high GPV and what is because we've moved away from Isintu. True. Like, our essence is Abantu, who we are, is in our own language and in our own rituals. So now if we're not doing that, that's why we're doing the wrong things.
Yeah, we get lost. We are very lost, and finding ourselves is going to take voices like yours to actually
wake us up.
Yeah, and make the youth curious as well. So we need, because if no one is talking about it, they're not going to know that there's actually something that they are missing. So we need someone to actually constantly remind us and to wake that in the black child, that who am I, to want to find themselves. Talk to me about I asked earlier actually, Gogo, did you twasa? Or Gogo, why have you not twasa'd? And because, wow, everybody now, twasa has become a thing. And there really is nothing wrong with it. I'm one of those people who actually believes that because so much wrong has happened, or so much
it makes sense.
It makes sense, but also for us to actually come back to ourselves, there's a rite of initiation that actually needs to happen, and we need to have custodians of all of that indigenous knowledge, you know. So if people are twasing and it's being done right, then there really actually is nothing wrong with it. But if we're getting people are twasing and it's also still not being done right, then there's everything wrong with it, you know. So instead of having it be a trendy thing, we want to actually make it be the rite of passage that actually Africans actually need to go through to actually own themselves. Because a lot of people will say that they didn't twasa to practice, or they didn't twasa to heal the family lineage. They twasa to, for whatever reason, people will find that we'll have people tell us, but we need to have people finding themselves. And if it takes kutwasa to actually make you find yourself, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it, because in that time, your kutwasa, you are removed from all of these influences, and you're actually confronted with yourself, and then you're confronted with yourself includes actually your ancestors, because you are not you without your ancestors. That is actually, I want your understanding of that whole spiritual space. I know you're saying it's new to you, and it's actually surprising that it is new, because a lot of people don't think that you actually went through it at some point.
It's amazing.
Early on, actually.
It's amazing. That's why even me, I'm like, okay, I surrender. You know?
Was it an awakening that you were going through before this awakening now? Because
no, I just thought, you know, I've been told, I have my cousin who's late now. When I was already 21, when I started the beadwork, she was like, you know, we had a grandmother who had the gift. You've got the gift. Then it was just like, oh, whatever, man, you know. But then as I'm living, I'm just like, this is so, like, I can see things, you know. I can see people. I can see their pain. I can see, you know, people my honesty is how I'm receiving people as well. Like, I can have conversation with complete stranger, but a conversation that they needed to have. I'm used to people crying. In Jemas Kuluma, they start crying. Like, that is very, very normal for me. I don't even respond anymore. I don't have oh my God, are you okay? I just sit, I hold the hand to be like, okay. Anyways, as we were saying, so, you know, so I've just kind of gotten used to
healing happening in your presence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and maneuvering things, but nobody has directly, or people I trust haven't directly been like, hey man, don't you think you need to? Because then I also feel sorry going, guys, don't you think I need to? So now we're at the point where I'm like, actually guys, I don't care what you think anymore. I can see what's happening. I'll see you. I'm going to Mpumalanga. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay.
You know, so that's where we are now. But I could also, healers were always drawn to me, and I was always just part of them, and they just assumed that I'm also a healer, and then I'm just like, okay. So
there must be something.
Yeah. But now I'm at the point where I'm just like, okay.
Healers are born. That's the thing. Healers are born. A healer will heal whether they've initiated or not. A healer will heal by just being there. Your presence, if you're a healer, will bring healing to the people that you're actually supposed to heal. The Dwaso or the Pehlo itself is a whole different covenant, spiritual exercise. You know?
Ritual.
Yeah. It has no bearing on you being the healer. A healer is born. That's the one thing. That is why you're actually you've been healing. That is why people get healed when you when whatever you do heals them, you know. So it is bigger than that. It's just the initiation opens you up to identifying with your people, to actually understanding the oneness that you actually are with your people. That is what it did for me.